In an earlier video, I pointed out that Democrats need to go out there and...
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Anyway, folks, how's it going? Welcome aboard. First one in the house today, El Señor Patrick Magner says meow from Houston, Texas. Second person in the house is Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. Then, of course, coming in third, listening from AFK, AVQ, El Señor Michael Rudnin, AFK. What is AFK? Am I losing my mind? Am I supposed to know what AFK is? What is AFK, my brother? All right, so let's see. We have Patrick Magner from Houston, Texas, Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia, AVQ from Brooklyn, New York. Anthony Lefranco is from Laguna Beach, California. We also have Lee the Beer Cat from Austin, Texas. We have Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Atascocita. Joanne from Los Angeles, California. Carl Cox from Riverdale, Georgia. AVQ is away from keyboard. No wonder you didn't come in number one, AVQ. I wonder, every time I don't see you on the top of that list, I know you have a timer on. I'm like, what's happening here? Where is my man? Where is my man? Anyway, we're going to have a great show for you today. Thank you guys for being here. Did I miss anybody? I think I got Lefranco from, yes, I got that. All right, let's go over to Substack. Whoa, hello, Substack. Deborah J. from Virginia. Adam from Western Pennsylvania. Adam W. from Western Pennsylvania. Cheryl Elkins, how you doing? Beautiful. Julia Rollinson, Alice Martin, Cynthia Thomas, Paulette Easel. Bob Helmick says, I'm here. Proceed. Well, thank you, Mr. Helmick. I will proceed. Anyway, folks, we have J. Ray is in the house, and he says he is roaring. And, of course, we have Lee Grant from Missouri City, J. Ray from Houston, Texas, Harry Benson from Missouri City, Texas, Lee Grant from Montgomery County, Todd Galden, welcome aboard, Bethany, Kathleen Wise Boyle. A lot of folks are in early. I'm glad for that because I have some videos that I really want, two specific videos that I really want you guys to see. I'm going to start out first with the longer video. It's 13 minutes and 59 seconds, and then the shorter one, 6 minutes and 31 seconds. And I want you guys to listen to this in detail, and then we'll take it on the other side. But let me see if I'm forgetting anything, first of all, before I get started. I think I have everything under control at this point in time. So let's go ahead and get busy with that video. Let me get it all queued up correctly and make sure that I have all the channels selected. You know how it goes here. I'm always fighting at the last end to get all the videos up and running. And today was no different. I was like, 3 o'clock is almost here. 3 o'clock is almost here. Michael Rudnin has the timer set. So I need to make sure and get it going. Okay, here's the video. Hermanos y hermanas, aquí tenemos el video ahora. If Democrats intend to win the battle, intend to reach the working class, intend to really put the Republican bill on ice or to throw it into a grave. You cannot stay in Washington and make proclamations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can't. What you have to do is go out there in the field and physically show Americans exactly what's going to happen if this big, beautiful bill passes. Here's the deal. I want you to listen to this piece that was on MSNBC. I did a few cuts on it so that you can see what's going to happen to solar power stations, etc., if this bill goes through. Check this out, then we'll take it on the other side.
As it currently stands, the bill would eviscerate the Biden administration's investments in clean energy, including solar power. How exactly could the Republican spending and tax plan put facilities like the one you're standing at risk?
Yeah. So first, just to give you a sense of where I am and the scale of it to sort of arrive at what's at stake. So this facility is in two parts. The first part went online in December. When the second part goes online in about a month or so, there will be 1.3 million of these solar panels, between 1.2 and 1.3 million of these solar panels. These rows and rows you see behind me are just a small fraction of the total size of this facility. It will have the capacity to power 7% of Los Angeles. So 7% of the largest power utility in the country will be powered just by this facility. The scale of this, and oh, by the way, I also want to say most of the materials here, not the panels themselves, but the steel, the trackers that are used to turn the panels towards the sun, the batteries, which are actually Tesla batteries that store the power to then feed it to LA when the sun goes down, that's all American made. It's American steel, American companies. Now, facilities like this have become possible, much more possible in the last 2 years than they were before because of the incentive structures, the tax incentives in Biden's climate bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, which made it much more profitable and much more predictable for both developers and investors to get projects, utility scale projects of this size and of this capacity up and running. Now, that is industry-wide, by the way. Solar has just exploded in the last just 2 years. By some estimates, it's supposed to triple by 2028. That is all predicated on the conditions, the incentive conditions created by the IRA. Now, what the bill does, what the spending bill does, as passed in the House, is that it basically stops those incentive structures, and it does so very quickly. It rolls them back almost immediately. There's very little phase-out time. And so what the business people who are involved in creating, making these things happen say is that makes it basically impossible to plan future projects and ongoing projects. The CEO of Arevon, the company that built this facility, told me that he actually has 3 ongoing projects in earlier stages of development in Georgia, in Michigan, and Indiana, I believe, that he's had to completely put on pause. And it's not just because of the spending bill, it's also because of uncertainty around tariffs. Again, steel, for example, even if you're using U.S. steel, tariffs on imported steel still cause prices to rise. It's basically become impossible to plan and to make sure that these investments actually come to fruition. That is why this is a hang-up among some Republicans, many Republicans in the Senate. So I talked to the CEO of this company. I asked him, what is this going to cost, right? Like what is actually at stake? What is this going to cost the country and the American people? Here's what he had to say.
It's going to cost billions and hundreds of billions of dollars of investment and hundreds of thousands of jobs, and puts us at risk of creating the energy that we need to meet that demand created by AI. That's a factual message. Whether or not the politicians in DC recognize that that's the case or not, we'll have to see.
The vast majority of that solar boom, by the way, Chris, has happened in Republican strongholds, in red states, in the South, in the West, in the Midwest, even where I am now. This is California, obviously a blue state, but this is a Republican-controlled House district. That is why this is a huge hang-up with a number of Republicans, not just in the Senate, but also in the House. As the people you were talking to just now have explained, it's totally not clear how much senators who don't want these incentives to go away are going to be able to get in these negotiations. But that is, it's one of the biggest sticking points, and it's one of the most important things that we're going to have to be paying attention to moving forward, Chris.
Now, here's the deal. There is so much that's wrong with the big, beautiful bill as called by Donald Trump that gives Democrats ample space, ample opportunities to get directly into the heads of MAGA and those senators and Congress people that are going to be responsible for passing this thing. Let me first go with the piece that you just saw there. This particular solar field, this solar plant is in a red district. it is going to affect a lot of people in a red district. It seems like when they passed the IRA, they really passed it they really made sure that a lot of that money was going to red states, likely to make it that much more difficult to cancel. But these Republicans don't give a damn about their own people. They don't care that they're going to starve them, kill them, etc. So you have to show them. This reporter went out there to show what a particular section of the big, beautiful bill is going to do to this particular solar plant or to solar plants like this. He points out there are solar plants that are planned in Georgia and in Indiana, places where these are red areas. And that bill is going to take monies and employment out of the pockets of these folks. It's going to raise the prices on quite a bit on these folks. We should have a Democrat or Democrats, plural, from those areas go on to the site where these solar farms were intended to be built and come with a big banners, media, everything, and say, the panels that were going to be placed here with supplies from the steel, from American steel, supplies from American panels, supplies from American batteries. What was going to be built here will not be built, and all these jobs will be lost, and all the restaurants that would have fed these people, that would have built these plants, that would have operated these plants, will not be. They need to go to Indiana. They need to go to Georgia. They need to come here to the Mojave Desert in California and let folks understand that. Show them exactly what the bill cuts, not just put it in the ethos. Show them physically what it cuts. Additionally, we know that the big bad bill, one of the other things that it does is it cuts Medicaid. They need to go to every rural hospital on the margins. And you know what? It's not hard to find rural hospitals on the margins because most of them are. Go out in front of the hospitals with banners. Go out of the hospitals with their ledgers to show how much money they normally get from Medicaid. Go out there and have it printed on banners and show the people in that rural area what their representative is about to cut for them. It's lazy to stay in Washington. You have all these consultants out there in Washington. They should be telling their people, create banners, create an illusion, not an illusion, a reality. Have the media out there do things that make you remember the Tea Party knew how to do all of that lying. Democrats and progressives can do that simply by telling the truth and go to those locations where things are going to be harmed. Go to the hospitals, go to a nursing home where 50% of the people are on Medicaid, that Medicaid is paying for those cares. Go out there with banners. How many people are you going to lose at this nursing home that puts your mother, your grandmother, your auntie in danger? You have to be proactive and you have to have media. And after you're proactive with the media, you have to have all that information dispersed so that, hey, here on Politics Done Right, you send us the video that of what you did and what's going to happen, and we will make sure and disperse it through our blogosphere. And you give it to the several hundred bloggers throughout the country to show these things. You know who does that? Republicans. You know why? Even though they have bad bills and bad information, their people stay completely in complete oblivious to what's going on. You know why? Because they're saturated with their own media. They invest in their media to put this information out. You know, I've contacted Democratic, not commissioners, but I've contacted Democratic leaders. I've contacted all kinds of folks saying, what are you doing? And you know what? For all practical purposes, guess what you get? Oh, okay, that's a good idea. Good shoe off. And you get a shoe off. What I tell all the people that are listening here, all our progressives that are listening here, it's all up to you now. You have to get the job done because Jeffries, later on, I'm going to play a piece from Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries, as far as fighting this battle, useless. As far as the Senator Chuck Schumer, useless. They don't know how to fight. They don't know how to get the message out to the working class, to the middle class. So They out there and they give one short speech and then it's over for them. They $10,000 to the consultant. Progressives, bloggers, writers, we have a job to do. And for all of you out there who understand what's going out, please make sure to support entities like ours. Make sure and invest in what we are doing, because you know who's not doing it? Do you see the head of do you see Jeffries out there? Jeff, if I were leading the Democrats right now, I would go ahead and I would have I would divide every state into sectors. And all these sectors would have whatever is going to be marginalized by that bill in these sectors. And I'll have a particular leader in every single one of these sectors. Create narratives, create media, and they would be doing it every single day to make every American understand what that several $1 trillion bill is going to do. Because you know what? It is a dereliction of duty that we have indivisible doing their work. We have a lot of these organizations going out and protesting in front of offices of these different Congress people. But the one thing missing is the part that needs funded, both the communications, like what we do here, and you know what else need funded? Getting the buses out that's going to take people into these rural areas, and with the Congress people pointing out exactly what those Republican Congress people are doing to them. We don't do it here in Texas. We don't do it around the country. And it is imperative that if we are to win, we point this out. Solar panels, deprived. Healthcare, deprived. Your humanity, killed. We have to do a better job, and we can't wait till the bill is rewritten and almost passed. We have to make it that they can't rewrite the bill. They can't rewrite the bill and put it up for a vote, because Americans would already have known what it is going to do to their own personal economies. That is what we have to do. And until we get smart, that bill is going to pass, it's going to go through, and it's going to be hard as hell to recover the damage that it's going to do. It's on us. We have to invest in, and again, like I said, forget about the party. Do it for ourselves. We have to make sure, first of all, and start educating the American people so that they can stop the Republicans from doing what they're doing. And number two, in the primaries, we are going to have to primary a lot of these people out of office, because for all practical purposes, many of them are useless. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is doing her job. Casar is doing his job out of Texas. Maxwell is doing his job out of Florida. Ayanna Press is doing her job out of, I think, Massachusetts. But most of these guys just have their tails within their legs. Murphy is doing a good job, Senator Murphy. But folks, we need a hell of a lot more than that. Sure as hell need a hell of a lot more than that. All right, let's see. Deborah says MAGA only listens to Fox, and Fox will not. Scrolled. MAGA only listens to Fox, and Fox will not give Democrats airtime to talk against the bad bill. Actually, guess what, Deborah? They actually allow Buttigieg to get on, and Buttigieg has a way of getting under your skins, and he has a way how to control the narrative. And every time they bring him on with the expectation that they'll get him this time. And every time he he punches them right into the nose and get it right. So Buttigieg should be out there on Fox News and AON, on Newsmax, etc. Let's see. Trump hates this country is what Deborah J says. I agree with you. I think he hates the country because he thinks the country laughed at him when he was always. But yeah, it's true. We always laughed at him because he's a joke. He's a joke of a human being, right? So yeah, we always laugh at El Señor Trump. Cheryl Elkin says there is no organization leadership at the top. They have no idea any longer how to motivate people. I think you're right, but I think it's for different reasons. I think they got those donors that's in their ear, and they're scared to do anything. You notice how Slosh King came out and say we shouldn't use the word oligarchy. Where do you think that came from? That came likely from the plutocrats telling her, hey, you're attacking us, man. You're attacking us. No, use the damn word oligarchy. These guys are white collar criminals. All right. Cheryl Elkin says, this is how you mobilize a community from the bottom up. Exactly. Separate your state in sectors, separate your county in sectors, and get the job done. Exactly, exactly, Cheryl Elkins. Lauda Wynn says, the Democrats never listen to good sense. It's so frustrating. That's why I said, to hell with the leadership. We have to go out and do it. And I'm so proud of so many people here in my little area. Remember, we said, well, Cheryl talked about localization. Who said that? We need to localize, which is true. We have here in Kingwood, we have a group of an offshoot from Indivisible led by Cindy Hendrickson. They're doing their part. And on Thursday, I think they'll be out there tomorrow in front of uh, uh, my congressman's office, Dan whoops, I forgot. What's wrong with me? Anyway, his first name is Dan. In front of his in front of his office, and they're doing this all over the country. But what we need to do is go where we're not, the rural areas. Go in front of those hospitals that are closing, and it's not hard to figure it out. We can go look at the books of these hospitals and know which ones are on the edge. And they'll love to tell you because they don't want to go under. We can find the ones that are on the edge. Crenshaw, thank you, Bruce. Crenshaw, Dan Crenshaw. We know who's on the edge, and they're already screaming. I gave you guys a video a couple of weeks ago with a CEO of one of these hospitals saying, if this bill passes, my hospital closes. It's not conjecture. It is true. Ayana is in Massachusetts. Exactly. Ayana Presley. Thank you, Cheryl. Where did I say she was? I thought I said Massachusetts, but I could be wrong. And Deborah J says Pete is special. I mean, he knows how to communicate very, very well. Let's see. Egberto, Ashley Morgan, Egberto, Harry Denson Jr., here, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffrey both better figure out and clarify their message of truth to the working. Well, I have a video. I was trying to cut it, but I couldn't get it cut in time from Sunday. I'll try to cut it for tomorrow. He completely pissed me off. In fact, Dana Bash said, what does that? After he gave her an answer, the way he talks, da 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 da, and then she says, "What does that even mean?" And then he repeats the same thing almost. I sat down there and shook my head. Oh my God, what's wrong with Hakeem Jeffries? There was a time Hakeem Jeffries could really lay it out. Now it's almost like he's a robot. Welcome aboard, Margaret Ryan. Good afternoon, she says. Welcome aboard, Jacqueline Campisi from Katy, Texas. Welcome. Jacqueline, I think you're a teacher, right? I think that's why you're here this afternoon, because guess what? I think schools are closed, aren't they? Jacqueline Campisi, I think teachers are the most important, teachers, nurses, most important professions, bar none. But teachers, my God, you guys are the ones moving knowledge forward. I got all this for you. All this for you. Let's see what else we got. Carl Cox says solar power, yes. Trump, no. Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain is in the house. Melanie, love to have you here, beautiful. Carl Cox says clean green energy, yes. Trump, no. All right. Michael Radden, infrastructure investment is usually government tax money best spent. Exactly. For many reasons, it expands the economy because those workers also buy sandwiches, buy stuff. It is amazing how powerful it is. They have to buy the cement, the asphalt, all of that. Republicans are trying to drag our country into a mythical past. So, of course, they have no vision of the future. Climate deniers are still commonplace among Republicans, and that's a sad state. Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia says, Bannon, there are no Doge cuts. Where's the fraud in Medicaid? They haven't found any. Has anyone been turned over to the DOJ for fraud? They sure haven't, Steve. Exactly. And if they had found any fraud whatsoever, no matter how small, They would have blown it up and made it a big national story. And then Fox News would have started with that story. And after Fox News bring it up, Newsmax and AON would put it flashing all over. Doge finds fraud. You didn't have any of that because we always knew they had watchdogs there. You want to see the fraud? Go to the Defense Department. But guess what? Oh my God, that's off limits. See the fraud at the Defense Department. If you really want to see fraud, go to the Defense Department. Adam W says, reminds me of Gene Hackman quote in Mississippi Burning. These people, Republicans, come from the sewer. Maybe the gutter is where we need to be. The people, I don't call all Republicans that. I call Republican leadership and those folks that are what I call the deplorables, as the ones that just want to harm people. And there's many of them, a couple of them in the chat as we speak. All right, let's see. Adam says, of course, he was speaking about the KKK. LOL. Yes. And Democrats have to stop the politically correct nonsense because it is at our detriment. And you're absolutely correct. Welcome aboard, Nancy Harb and Walter Ryan. How are you doing, my dear brother? Okay. Bruce Pollard is from Kingwood, Texas, but I think you're still in Minnesota with the grandkids. Tell your two daughters I say hi. You know, they grew up with my daughter. Let's see. Paul Fleming says, moments ago, GOP Senator John Kennedy spars with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. That was a joke. I saw that. He looks like a clown. I'm not the senator, the guy. I mean, it is hard to fathom who's leading this country right now. It is so hard to fathom who's leading. Maywood from Long Beach, California. How are you doing, my dear brother? All right. Bruce Pollard said, it sounds like you have the good approach because we can't wait 4 or even 2 years to fix what's broken. And that's the urgency that I'm talking about, Bruce. You get it. You get it. You get it. We have to convince the convincible MAGA, the part of MAGA that's not deplorable. We have got to convince that segment. And you know, guys, I usually don't use those kind of words, deplorable, idiot, fools, none of that. I don't. But after speaking to Mike, after listening to Mike Cisak a couple of days ago or yesterday, and listening to the evil that came out of his heart when he was speaking about the healthcare and the undocumented, that really did a number on me because you know he comes across nice and soft spoken, etc. But the evil that lives within, it was just, and the evil and hate that live within was just so hard for me to. I mean, I'm not naive or anything like that, okay? But to hear the soft-spoken person come out and just display that level of evil toward another, it was just to me unacceptable. It triggered a nerve. So I think we ought to tell, as brother, I think it was Andy W. say, we have to call certain spades and no longer worry about, well, if you're calling names, you're not going to be able to communicate. I am not calling names to good, decent Republicans. I'm not calling names to relatively decent MAGA. But to what that guy did yesterday about the undocumented, listen to it in the chat, I'm sorry, I couldn't fathom that. All right, continuing. Let's see what else we got here. Paul Fleming says Bannon says Musk and Republicans in Congress are lying about the deficit numbers and their budget, and the only way to reduce the debt significantly is to increase taxes on the wealthy. You're going to have to raise taxes. Even Reagan realized that as he was coming out of office, but even worse. I mean, Bush number 2, no new taxes number 2, did exactly what we had to do, and that is raise taxes on the rich. Carl Cox says Democratic party leadership only care about money, donors, and bribes. Take the bribes out, the donors, yes. Michael Radne says, in the Visible Guide, we're putting up billboards in the districts of 9 vulnerable Republican demands that they vote against Trump's disastrous cuts to Medicaid and SNAP. Yes, it's there. I know that is a part of the documentation for Indivisible. But here's what I want, Michael. I want more engagement. I want us to go to the hospitals and the nursing homes, not just billboards on the side of the road. I want us to be at the location where these things are happening so people can actually see it. That's what I want to see, right? All right, let's see. What else have we got here? Let's see. Margaret Ryan is in the house. She says, it was never about anything about other than Trump. Join Indivisible in your area. We're going to rural areas to start conversations and listen to their concerns. Where Margaret, where are you again, and what Indivisible are you working with? And please feel free to call into our show both in the mornings to throw it out there as well as here to tell that story. I love that. I love that. Me encanta eso. Eso es perfecto. Anthony Lefranco says, how about the Dems adopting the language of contempt for MAGA policy? Keep on the message. Agreed. Ashley Morgan says, Egberto Harry Denson Jr. here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Are you using as somebody's account, Harry? Harry? Is that what you're doing? Using somebody's account? Well, Ashley Morgan, hello. I hope you're a listener as well. All right. Maywood says, speaking of organizing, I may not be here on Friday. Going to a Wear Orange for Gun Safety. Love you, my brother Maywood. Love you, my brother Maywood. We'll try to get here at the library when it's all over, but not sure I'll be. But what you can do is you can give some videos. In fact, I could have given you a link to pipe in your stuff live, but we'll probably work on that at another time. All right, Ford and General Motor are racing to develop a new type of electric vehicle battery. One engineer labeled it an LFP of the West. If they deliver on their promises, it could unlock the next phase of growth for the American EV industry. Thank you for that. I didn't see that news. I want to go ahead and take a look at that. That intrigues me. I just went ahead and I'm going to bookmark that. Thank you for that, buddy. Let's see. I got to bookmark that because that is something I definitely want to read. Para ver dónde diablo lo voy a poner. Let me put it in other bookmarks. Okay, done. All right, thank you for that, brother. Let's see what else we got here. Anthony Lefranco says, a big, beautiful bill, tremendous at solving imaginary problems, even better at ignoring real ones. All the lower costs. I love that. That is corny and good. Okay, Margaret says fraud in Medicaid is being done by corporate owners who will incorrectly and not individuals. Exactly. And I think there's a section of Medicaid that people on Medicare use as well, if I remember correctly from my studies. And they rip it off to kingdom come, but it's the corporations that doing the ripping off. Anthony Franco says denigration does not work. Criticized to the point of contempt. You probably need to expand on that for me. Maybe I'm too dense to understand what you're trying to say there. All right, Michael Rana says, Egberto, F Mike C, soft spoken. Nah, he's an. Okay, I don't use those words on air, but we'll see. All right, what else have we got here? Carl Cox says, that's a MAGA lie. Oh, yeah, it is all. That's what they do very well. Michael Rana says, Paul, Los Angeles Times from last month. Tariffs bring shipping slowdown, threatening trucking jobs. It's already started to threaten those jobs. Guys, you can read that on your own. Margaret Ryan says, Eastern Washington, indivisible Spokane. I love that. I love that. Spokane. And you know what's so funny? Spokane is sort of like clearly in the rural, not the, it is a city, but it's surrounded by rurality, if you will. So you guys are going to do a great job. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. And Jacqueline Campisi says, yes, I'm a teacher. I could never listen at 3 because it was during school dismissal. I know, I know. Thank you for being here. And by the way, and thank you for being a teacher and stay being a teacher if you can. I know the pay isn't the best, but man, we need good people like you out there to keep, not only because we need teachers, but we need teachers that have the right mental framing. We do need that. So thank you for being there, Ms. Campici. Deborah J says Democrats take far less money from the super rich because they don't want to be in the rich people's pockets like Republicans are. So Democrats ask for grassroots donations. Many Democrats only take grassroots donations. So They don't owe oil and gas industry. Republicans take corporate money and they do favor for corporate. Let me correct one thing, my dear Deborah. Some of our Democrats, especially some of our leadership, Nancy Pelosi and all the others, they do take big money from a lot of these corporate heathens. And that's why, if you listen to my show this morning, we spoke about the abundance doctrine that they're trying to pass off instead of what we need to do here as grassroots people. That's why I've been hitting Hakeem Jeffrey, I've been hitting Chuck Schumer, etc. Because no, a lot of these actually take those big money dollars. Look, we raise more money for the 2024 election. Okay, Kamala Harris raised, along with Biden, raised more money and corporate dollars as well than Donald Trump did, over $2 billion. But it was just a matter of taking y'all's money. All the progressives here that do not the Act Blue. I'm not talking about solely the Act Blue, although some of the Act Blue is another thing. But a lot of folks giving money to these guys. You get this email every day, several times a day, coming. A lot of that money was going to pay $10,000 consultants, $15,000 consultants, $20,000 consultants, and those guys wouldn't know a working class person if they kicked them. Okay, I know you didn't say that, Deborah. I know. What I didn't want to get across is I don't want to protect those of us that are not serving us. That's the issue, Deborah. I want to make sure that we are honest in all that we're talking about. And some neoliberal Democrats are no better than the Republicans. Okay, some neoliberal Democrats are no better than Republicans. And I want to get rid of them. I want to get rid of them because we are for the working class, we are for the middle class, we are for real people. Okay? If you take a no, G Beard, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez take no corporate dollars and she raises millions, grassroots. $5 here, $10 here, $100 here, $50. Look, and this is going to be self-serving now. This will be self-serving. I am out here trying like hell to get this message out to as many places as I can. As many places as I can. And we have to beg, and I say using that figuratively, beg to get people to say, we are going to support your network. We're going to support Politics Done Right. We are going to support your newsletter. We have to beg for that, right? We have the regular guys that got golden parachutes that just came on to Substack. A lot of them just came on to Substack. They don't go out there in the field with Indivisible like we do. They don't go out there and be a part of the movement to really try to get back our democracy. They don't do that. But we have to fight and beg. Please remember, subscribe to Politics Done Right. We're out there working. We're doing the work. We're really, really doing the work. I love Joyanne Reed. I love Acosta. I love all of these guys. But these guys are mostly talking. I am talking, but I'm out there in the field. Actually with the folks, with the people. Getting their touch, hugging them, actually seeing what's on their minds, what's really wrong, how do they work. So when that consultant who easily gets $10, $15, $20,000 in Washington, D.C. to tell them, well, we did a poll, and this poll says that 80%. Well, you know what? Who don't answer polls? That person in Appalachia that doesn't vote, that person in the middle of the ghettos that's trying to get somebody to take care of their kids, right? So when we go to the food bank, we meet another subset of people that nobody talks to. You know who was talking? You know, my wife is originally from a neighborhood called South Park. And that neighborhood it used to be a completely white neighborhood. It turned into an entirely black neighborhood, and then now it is a mixed neighborhood, black and Latino. And before her mother died, she had gone out there to look for her mother. And she said, she came back, Egberto, I see all these guys out there with red shirts and white letters with D something A on it. And I'm like, that's my brothers and sisters out there. She said, these were all white kids, right? And I'm saying, those are my brothers and sisters. It was DSA, Democratic Socialist Association, and DSA was out there in the hood talking to people, encouraging them to vote. And that election, we won in a landslide here in Harris County. DSA and all these people touched the people, hugged the people. They were around the people. You know, they were doing their jobs. And that's all we're asking Democrats to do, right? We're saying invest in those who are doing the work. I'm a member of DSA. I give my dues every month, right? I put my money where my mouth is. I do my dues at KPFT both by giving a program and paying. I only give them $10 a month because I'm also doing a program. I think I give the Democratic Party, I don't know what, $10 a month. I give another 501c3 $10 a month. I give a whole lot of $10 a month around to support these different things that are doing the work. But we have a hard time. Those of us doing this kind of media have a hard time. And all these charlatanes that everybody defends just happen. Adam says not to actually call some of them out, and I'm guilty of supporting a few. Some of them just flipped party affiliation and found Substack a cash cow. They may be promoting a good message, but a few of them, particularly, are simply on here grifting to the max. If Republicans would take them back, they'd switch affiliation in a New York minute. Exactly. Exactly. And those of us, a couple of us did some work on Substack to talk about how these guys are, they come here and immediately they get 10,000 paid subscribers. We're fighting to get a few hundred. They get 10,000 paid subscribers right away because America believes in this thing called, what is it? A celebrity mentality that we have to kind of rid ourselves of, right? We have to rid ourselves off of that celebrity mentality and start supporting the good writers. I found a good writer here that I interviewed, a young lady. She's about 24, 25 years old. Wrote a great article on philanthropy and how people are funding philanthropy and getting tired of philanthropy and what are they doing, etc. She wrote a great article. I interviewed her. I said, "Wow, great article." Can't remember her name right now. We interviewed her on a Substack Live, and others are starting to recognize the great work that she's doing. But a lot of these other folks that come here, we have to give everybody that opportunity to come on here if they have something positive to do. I am ATLDSA. You go ATLDSA. There's my girl, Yvette Avery Herod. Yeah, I am here. I'm a member of. I am all over the place. I'm a Democratic Party precinct chair. I'm a paid member of the National Democratic Socialist Association as well as the local one. So I make sure and anything progressive, I am there. If anybody wants to interview or whatever needs to be done, I am there. All right, this is Politics Done Right. Who do I have the honor of speaking with?
Hey, this
Turn
is
the-
Anthony LoFranco. Am I on point here, or?
Yeah, you're live. Turn the radio down, Anthony. You're live. Okay, go ahead, Anthony.
Okay, on my YouTube, it's probably a different place.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing me onto the show. You've mentioned a couple of my posts, and you had said to explain, so that's why I'm calling in.
Sure, go ahead, sir.
Okay, so Newt Gingrich created the language of control that the Republican Party, now MAGA, uses to create contempt for any democratic value.
You're
and
correct.
If you think about anything you ever hear, a Republican speak about, whatever the topic is, the end of it usually has, or the beginning, or somewhere in there, it's we're doing this because of how horrible the Democrats destroyed this. Right? And so everything always comes back to this language of, we're going to fix things, we're in control. And so my point is, when we argue with that, or we argue their points, we're stuck in an argument. We're not moving forward the truth that we all know. And what I'm referencing is, we need to tax the rich, period. Just like FDR did. That's how the American century was built. So what I'm saying is, instead of trying to, well, there's room for everything, but instead of trying to defend, criticize to the point of contempt and assert the truth. And that's why I wrote that text that said, big, beautiful bill. You follow?
Yeah, actually, the thing about it is I didn't quite understand that out of the message that you put there. Maybe it's because how fast I read these messages that are coming. But I think then you're going to like the last video that I have here, because in effect, I talk about, I think it's the last video that I did. I'm going to play this after you get off the line. But I get what you're saying. And by the way, I'm in complete agreement with you. And some of that was covered, guess where? In the book that I wrote, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative Friends and Neighbors. So I'm with you, brother. I am absolutely with you.
Thank you. The only topic is tax the rich. Think about it. We wouldn't have all these other distractions across the board, be it people of another color that, you know, they want to single out, be it school or woke or whatever it is. The issue is tax the rich so that the American century can continue and can grow. If we're not focusing on that, I think we're off point and we're missing.
Brother, let me tell you something else, brother. This one, this video is covering the debt, but it's a corollary to what you're saying. So if you don't have anything else to say, I'm going to play the video, and then, or I tell you what, you can hear me well right now, correct? Stay online. I'm going to play the video. It's on. Stay online. Stay online, and then we'll talk about it after the video. Let's do that. All right, here it comes. In an earlier video, I pointed out that Democrats need to go out there and go into the locations where hospitals are going to be closing. Green energy, solar power plants are going to be put on hiatus or not built at all. Green energy, wind projects are going to be put on hold, where in these red states, in these red districts, employment that people thought they would have, they won't have. You need to go out there with media and banners and hit it day after day after day to let these folks know what happens if the big bad bill passes. The big, beautiful bill, but it's really the big bad bill. Now, above that is how we handle the sections of the bill that cuts healthcare, the section of the bill that cuts green energy investments, etc. But there is another part of the bill that we can handle, tax cut for the wealthy. And how do we market the tax cut for the wealthy? We let it be known. Well, I tell you what, let's first show what the deficit that's created by giving a big tax cut to the wealthy is going to do to the bond market. And the bond market means to how much ultimately we are going to pay to borrow as a country and individually on credit cards, mortgages, and car loans. Take a listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
While investors scramble around the uncertainty of tariffs, JP Morgan's CEO says their biggest concern might not be trade at all. Not that trade is okay, but it's not his number one issue. The U.S. debt is.
If people decide that the U.S. dollar isn't the place to be, yeah, you could see, spreads gap out, credit spreads gap out, and that will become a problem. It hurts the people raising money, and that includes small businesses. That includes loans to small businesses, includes high yield debt, it includes leveraged lending, includes real estate loans. That's why you should worry about volatility in the bond market.
When you hear about bonds, we're talking about U.S. Treasuries, which are widely considered the safest, highest quality place to put your money, which is why countries and investors around the world are so heavily invested in them. And how do they work? Okay, so a bond, it's like a loan where the borrower pays back with interest. That is the yield. And if the lender thinks the borrower is high risk, well, then they demand a higher interest rate. But the U.S. is seen as so safe that the interest rates, those yields, are normally very low. Well, last month, when the House passed a budget bill that could add $3.8 trillion to our debt, guess what bond yields did? They went up. That is the market telling us it is worried that the U.S. is borrowing so much, in large part to pay for tax cuts. And Trump knows how important the bond market is. He acknowledged it back in April when he paused the tariffs. Rising bond yields were one of the main reasons he pressed that 90-day pause. And now investors around the world might not be feeling like the safest asset in the world, bonds, are so safe anymore. And if right now you are saying, why in the world do I care? Treasury bonds mean nothing to me. Well, higher interest rates for treasuries, especially the 10-year, well, that means you're going to pay more for a mortgage, a car loan, or a business loan. And your credit card debt just got more expensive. So when and if global investors really do potentially lose faith in U.S. treasuries and the bond market actually cracks, well, then I will be sitting here in this seat with no good news to report.
Now, so what do we have to do here? What Democrats need to do here is personalize that as their higher interest rates in car loans, their higher interest rates in mortgage, their higher interest rates for credit cards, going directly into the pockets of wealthy, rich people. Let's start putting out the proper narrative that increase in interest rates that our government is paying, the increase in interest rates that we are going to pay, is going directly into the hands of those rich plutocrats, oligarchs, etc., those wealthy people, for that tax cut. And not only is that happening not only is our bills getting higher, credit card, etc., getting higher because we're giving them the money, but they're even ripping us off even further, because for every dollar that we give the government, they are getting over 20 cents or so of that dollar. I want us to start personalizing the debt, not just that we have a big deficit. Point out that we are paying the interest on that deficit directly into the pockets of rich people. They are taking our money. They are stealing from us. Those higher interest rates in credit cards is a direct responsibility of the tax cut given to these folks by these corrupt politicians. And as such, they need to be removed. Folks, there is so much, if we decided to get active, progressives and Democrats alike, to present the proper narrative, to personalize this for that person in Appalachia, personalize that for that person in Pittsburgh, personalize it for that person in Timbuktu, Georgia, Timbuktu, South Dakota. We need to get with the program. There you go, Lefranco. Now, why I said it was a corollary of what you're saying is because, again, yes, tax the rich. Why do we tax the rich? Because right now we're not taxing them and they're stealing from us. In fact, they're taxing us. If you take a look, so I mean, I agree with you, and I want that
Absolutely.
message to be cleaned up. Your thoughts before we close out?
You're right. Well, you're right. And, it's almost overwhelming. There's so many aspects of this. But what I think I've seen is he's trying to lower the value of the dollar.
Yes.
Globally. And
yes.
And what would you pay if you were the head of a country that was on the take, was on the inside? What would you pay him in order to have the value of the dollar lower? You see what I mean?
Oh, yes.
It's deconstructing of America. I'm going to let you go. I wanted to say two things real quick. One, God bless you. My mom was born in the Panama Canal Zone also.
Oh, wow. Great.
And yeah. She came here as a young woman and made a way for our family, which is unparalleled. The other thing is, I'm always going to speak about messaging. I'm an advertising producer. I can give you a whole bunch of stories about how the tariffs are impacting our industry to a dramatic way. But we have to keep up this work. We have
Well,
to, because
let me tell
it
you,
is
Lefranco,
time to.
here's what I would like to do with you. I want to do this with our members, right? Sometime are you on Substack or are you on some other network? How did you get to us? Substack or YouTube or how?
Well, this is a good conversation between us because I'm sitting on my hands and I should be launching a new vehicle. You can see on my website if you want to really see what I do. But I've got to be active. I involve myself in Women for the Vote. I involve myself in Harris for Creatives for Harris. And I do, right now, there's a number of things that I'm looking at as far as how can I help get the message out. And I think your podcast might be a place where I can contribute. And that's why I'm here.
Absolutely so, and that's what I was about to say. I want to invite you for us to do a Substack live very soon so that we can discuss this because I think greater than just our current 3 o'clock time, it would be good for us to do a Substack live at some other time. So drop me a line, info@politicsdoneright.com. Let's get connected. All right, brother?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Alberto.
You have a wonderful day, my friend. Take care. All right, and Cynthia Verdell says during the Canada era, the rich were taxed at least 70%, and they were still wealthy. Exactly, because they try to use their money not just to accumulate wealth, but to produce. Cynthia Verdell says when enough people have died and enough people have slipped further into poverty, maybe the rich will pay attention. I'm joking. The rich don't care about anyone. Exactly, Cynthia Verdell says yes, because the rich don't use credit cards and they pay cash for other things. They don't need credit cards. Nikki Black, welcome to Politics Done Right. She says, hello, Egberto, from Nicholas from Venice. Thank you for being here, Nikki Black. Para ver quién más tengo aquí. Maywood says, oh, that's a reply between other folks. Okay, it's 3:59. I got to get out of here. But before I get out of here, you know what? You know it's time for my ask. I have to do my ask every day, folks. That is how we survive. And you know, I'm trying to get to. I need 500 something more people to join into the fold so I can get to the next level. So please become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. It is so very important. I am going to put that link onto both chats right now. You can become a paid subscriber of our newsletter by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Remember, a coffee a month is you are doing a great job, a coffee a month. And I tell you what, you see the work that goes into this, and it's not only what we do on the radio, it's not only what we do at KPFT, it's also what we do in the streets. It's also what we do with all these different programs, all the articles, the books, everything. And those of you who become paid subscribers get to read all of my books free of charge, so you don't not get something. And I sent out an email a few days ago that says all paid subscribers every weekend, and it's going to be either Saturday or Sundays that we rotate it every Saturday or Sunday every week. We have an intimate gathering with our paid subscribers. We had our first one on Saturday night, and it was wonderful. I thought I was going to get two people, to tell you the truth, because I just sent the email out. I got about 14 or 15 people that joined us, and I want to get even more. I want to get the hundreds that actually are subscribing, folks. So again, I'm putting the link to subscribe to our Substack. Please become a paid subscriber of the Substack. If you don't like Substack, but you like PayPal, I'm not PayPal, Patreon. We also have a Patreon, and I'm going to put that in the chat as well. That's another way of supporting us via Patreon. PayPal or Patreon is the two preferred ways of supporting us. We have to keep doing this. As Lefranco said, he's right. We all have to be a part of it. We can't expect that the party is going to support us. And, we give a whole lot to the party, and the party just do as they please. I'm putting the link in again, politicsdoneright.com patreon.com/newsletter. I just placed the newsletter link in and become a paid supporter. That would really keep us moving forward. I'll put it in again in the both chats. All right, folks. It's after 4. I got to get out of here. I got to go process this video to turn it into the podcast. Anyway, let's see. Bam, bam, bam. I think I have everything there. Thank you so kindly for being with us. Love you all. You can send me email directly, info@politicsdoneright.com, info@politicsdoneright.com. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.